Today we're going to look at how to use tabs. We will be doing this with Google Docs, not Microsoft Word, because Microsoft Word Online does not have the option to do tabs. You can do a lot more tabs and variations of tabs with Microsoft, the desktop version, but we're going to be using Google Docs. So open up your Google Docs, and this one is going to be called Practice Tabs. I will be doing this in class on Tuesday. So I'm also going to make sure I have Times New Roman, 12-point font as I start my tabs. So you will need to make sure that you have your ruler open. And anytime I click on here, I can add a tab stop. Okay, so those are called tab stops. I did try to use a show function so you can see your hidden codes like we can in Microsoft Word, but I could not get it to work, unfortunately. So when we are setting a tabs, in Google Docs, we just click on the ruler. You can do the same thing with Microsoft Word. We have only these three options when you're setting tabs. So you have a left tab, you have a center stop tab, and you have a right tab. So the left tab means text aligns at the left. The center tab, text will align at the center point where that tab's at. And then a right tab, the text aligns at the right and moves to the left. So we're going to look at those and we're going to use each one of those. We're going to start with the left tab, and I need a left tab I'm going to click off that, at a 1/2 inch. Now if you click and hold or click and let go, it's going to add a left tab stop. Okay, so you can see that little triangle. It's nice and even on the left-hand side, and that's the way the text will go. I can actually click and move this, and it'll tell you where it's at on the ruler. See, that's 0.5 right there. If I don't want it on there anymore, I can click and drag and let go, and it's gone. And then I can go back in and add another tab. So if I have it in the wrong spot, I can move that tab, and I'll show you that again after we get some text typed in there. So we're going to do a left tab at 0.5 over here at the 3. We're going to add a center tab. And then at 6.5 right here, we want a right tab. So a lot of times you can't just click there, because what's going to happen is you're moving this indent marker or you're changing your margin. That gray area is the margin area. So what I do is I actually click to the left of where I want a right tab, if it's going right at the right margin, which is very common. I'm going to click and I'm going to say add a right tab stop, but then I'm going to move that over so it's at 6.5. So it's right there at the right margin. Now we've got our tab stops in here. That's our first step. Decide what kind of tab we want. Set the tabs is actually the second step, which we've decided and set the tabs. And then the third step is you actually, in order to get your cursor, our insertion point right now is right here at the left margin, and I want it to be at this first tab stop. So to get the cursor to move over there, I'm going to hit the tab key on my keyboard. Okay, and that's moving that over. In Microsoft Word, that would show us our hidden codes would be an arrow. So we might have a chance, so we'll look at that later. So we can actually see that it's moved over there. I would say most word processing programs, if they're the full versions, they are always going to have a default tab stop, and that's every 1/2 inch. So that's why if I'm typing a paper and I want to indent a paragraph and I hit the tab on the keyboard, it will move over a 1/2 inch. Okay, so what we're going to do is I want you guys to put your first and last name at this first tab stop, first and last name. Then you're going to hit the tab again, and I want you to put the high school you're currently going to. So you're going to say Valley High School. I'm going to put what I graduated from, capitalizing those as they should be. Then we're going to hit the tab key again, and I want you to put somebody's name, a friend of yours or an acquaintance. And we're going to hit the enter key. Now, as long as I have set those tabs and then hit enter, the tabs stops up at the ruler will stay there. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to have the tab key again, and this time I want you to just put your first name. And you can see that it aligned our names up. This next one, I want to put, what middle school did you go to? Mine was a very small school, and elementary through high school, we were all in the same building. So I'm going to put Elm Creek. You guys will put your middle school, and then you're going to tab over and you're going to put another friend's name. And your third line, you're going to put your first name again, and you're going to put your elementary school. And you can see that as you're typing this one in the middle here, it's going to line up at that center spot. And that is your practice tabs. So we have one at 6.5, a right tab. It's lining it up at the right and making it uneven on the left. We have a center tab at 3, and we have a left tab here at 0.5. Okay. If I selected these, and you guys will not do this, but if I selected these, I would have to select all of the lines. I can actually click and drag. And if I move that to 3.5, it's going to move all of those over. That actually balances my columns out a little bit more. But for now, we're just going to leave it at 3, but you can move your tabs, stops, and that moves your text. So whenever we're doing tables, we do need to balance those tables out. And it's easier to see that they're unbalanced when they don't have lines. So the grid lines, which we used for a table. So this is obviously, you're always looking at the longest line to the next longest line. So there's way more space here on the right than there is on the left. So if I wanted to balance these columns, I would move this over. Okay. So that is practice tabs. One at 0.5, a left aligned tab stop, a center tab stop at 3, and a right aligned tab stop at 6.5. So you're going to save that and upload it.